Welcome to In the Studio, where we talk all things art. Today, I'm speaking with my longtime friend AnAkA, a multidimensional artist, photographer, filmmaker, musician, and healer. We met in high school and years later reconnected here in LA as artists. This conversation is a full circle moment.
Let's start by just introducing yourself.
Hi, I'm AnAkA. I'm an evolution doula, which basically encompasses preserving sacred wisdom through film and photography. Activate Archive is essentially like a wisdom preservation movement to honor the traditions that are still happening now and to help preserve them as much as possible.
So your photography and film work, where that started?
So yes, I started in high school. Our friend Rahi actually let me borrow
yes.
a camera.
I didn't know that's how it started.
That's literally how it started.
Okay.
Shout out Rahi.
Shout out to Rahi.
I figured out that I could borrow her camera. That's how I started with film. And then when I moved to Los Angeles, I ended up documenting a lot of musicians. All of the people who were coming up between like 2014 to 2016, I was there. I shot Kalani's first ever show in LA. I shot Kali Uchis, Gold Link, Chloe and Halle. That also feels very spiritual when I look back on it, because it's not like I planned to shoot all of those people's first shows, but I just ended up being the one to do it.
This was the beginning of your film career.
Exactly. It was the beginning of my film career. And also it was like, I was shooting only on film cameras and I still only really shoot on film.
Yeah. So it sounds like it was a very natural, fell into your lap kind of situation.
It fell into my lap, but it would easily fall away because I never had an agent. And it's been really interesting when I do get an offer to do a film, because it really just feels like it falls out of the sky. Like, I think they actually just quite literally Google Black woman director queer because they just need him and they don't have us on their rosters or something.
So you're getting on the roster.
Yeah. So they exactly.
So when you are creating, do you plan it out, or do you feel almost like intuitively this is just what's happening and it's almost taken over intuitively? Because that's always how I feel like when I'm in creation mode. It's almost like there's this higher self that know what they're doing, know what they came here to do, and they're taken over.
Wow. Well, I really admire that in your art, I have to say. But yes, it's very intuitive. I also use film cameras, like I use a 120 millimeter camera, and that's very like intuitive because you can't just take a zillion pictures. You have to really be intentional about how many pictures you take. And it is like painting with light. So just thinking about how you're like imprinting light onto something and how we're made of light and like who I choose to photograph has always felt very intuitive. But getting more in tune with that feeling has definitely been a practice of like, okay, why do I feel called to take a photo right now?
It's an interesting moment in time to be an artist. When it comes to photography, we're in this odd time where we have internet and social media and phones that take pictures. So there's a part of photography that is very underappreciated right now, I feel like. But that's what's amazing about hearing everything that goes into the photos that you are taking. And when you said it's almost like you're painting a picture with light at that time, because people don't always look at a photograph and know everything that goes behind capturing that moment. And there's something so sacred and spiritual behind the photo work and behind the film work.
Yeah, because I also build relationships with everyone I photograph. Every photo has a story. When you see a photo, it could mean a lot, but then when you know the story behind it, it means even more, especially when you give a voice to the person who's in the photo. Because I've always been attracted to portraiture. There's just something about documenting a person where they are in their life and hearing who they are, hearing their purpose, and like shining a light on that. Especially as someone who works primarily in Indigenous spaces and people who are already underrepresented and underappreciated. And then also getting the opportunity to work on like music videos with big artists and like making commercials. It's been such an interesting ability to like be a bridge between those two worlds, but it's still like such a strong barrier between like access for artists who are really creating from like a source energy and then access for artists who are creating what's like to be expected or like what's to be accepted.
You know, we're in a time where things are slowly being uncovered, like the veil is slowly lifting. There's so many of us out there creating in our true purpose. And so to be in this space that is very capitalist, it's headbutting.
It's really
headbutting your
a lot.
work. It's very clashy. So it takes a certain amount of determination and strength and willpower. I know with artists like us that have so much purpose behind our work, the best thing that we can do is stay true to the work, you know.
It's been so interesting working in the industry, and I'm sure for you it's been interesting too, because it's like we're spirit-based individuals. We live from a spiritual space, but we're like creating in places that don't even act like it exists. That part of the work not being acknowledged, because it's disrespectful to spirit.
It's disrespectful to ourselves too.
Exactly.
There's no reason to be an artist and suppress any part of ourselves. That's the antithesis of
right.
I mean, the artwork that you're doing, there's a legacy element to it and a longevity element to it where it will always be important and always be relevant.
I appreciate you.
Let's start from the beginning of Angel Music, how that was created.
So Angel Music is literally songs from the angels, and how it happened was I got to be one of the death doulas for my grandmother, who was a medicine woman. It was actually really beautiful. We got to spend time with her as she was transitioning, and the last few days before she passed away all the way, she was kind of like half in the earth realm, half in the spirit realm, and she started seeing angels. And then after she passed away, I was able to feel her energy and like recognize her energy. After that happened, I realized, I can ask my angels for things, and so I asked them for music that will heal the collective. And the first songs that came through, they were all angel sounds. And how I understand it is like a higher language that our angels speak in together.
Higher frequency.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the frequency that I like to work within. The core essence of angel music is frequency. It's also been a way of reclaiming my native ancestry. But then angel music ended up becoming a medicine. I got to sing the angel music in mushroom ceremony, and learning deeper about the lineage of medicine music and how medicine and music have always been one, and found that that's actually the home for the angel music. It really reminded me that I'm here as a channel.
You can feel it when you are performing. It's otherworldly. I mean, all of your performances, but I remember the one in the forest. Oh my God. You had a legion of angels, spirits, spirit guides. I could feel it. I could see it. It was so powerful.
Ooh,
yeah.
Wow.
I mean, yeah.
Thank you for even like being able to see it.
I feel like all of these art forms are channeling that inner essence of healing work. I'm curious about your process of creating the music itself.
Right. So it was really vulnerable at first. I basically pray first at my altar, and then I start hearing songs, and I was hearing multiple voices at the same time. So I got myself a looper. And so once I got myself a looper, I would use prayer, and then I would just have the looper ready and just kind of like transition into singing the different layers into the looper. Basically, the process has been they gift me the songs. They do come with like specific instructions, which I think is really interesting because they do sound very abstract.
So it's very, very intentional. It
right.
sounds
it's
abstract,
like,
but it's
yeah.
Do you feel like you used it as a tool for self-healing before you were ready to share?
Yeah, I actually kind of approach all of my artwork that way. I just feel like as a medicine person, we always have to take the medicine more than we give it. Like, it's really important.
One other thing about your angel music too, because I know you're saying you're bringing out your angels, you are bringing out other people's angels and other people's spirit guides.
It's like a meeting. It's like they all...
Yeah, in your angel music, I'm like, she's not the only voice that's coming out.
I know.
I was like, that's not the loop. This is before you put on the loop. I was like, 2 voices are coming out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah. I know. I appreciate
it's not things,
you, Penda. You really be seeing it, though.
Yeah. At the last
you were
show,
like, girl.
I was like, well, like, you see everything? Like, you see them all here?
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that because I think we do need to make more space for spirit in this realm. It definitely is meant to be a frequency that welcomes loving, supportive guides and angels that are of the people in the space. We always think about how powerful a concert is or how powerful a gathering is because there's a lot of people, but think about all of the beings who are like represented in each person and all of the lineages and ancestors that we each carry.
It doesn't even feel earthbound. It feels like it's being performed multi-dimensionally. So it feels
the songs
like...
are for the angels. They're not actually for humans. So it's definitely a bridge into the realms that the angels be at. But yeah, the songs are for the angels.
But you guys can still listen to it.
I have a debut album releasing this year. I have only EPs out right now.
Healing in the arts. has kind of always been a parallel theme in your life work. Where did that begin?
Yeah, so I grew up in my grandmother's home. She was a healer. She was very spiritual and cosmic. Like, she always taught me about like matter, earth, space, time continuum, all these different concepts. So I think just that being woven into my lifestyle, and then also growing up in Oregon where there's a lot of trees and like a lot of rain and nature and animals, it was really infused into me.
Off camera, we were kind of talking about how as artists, we're healers, but there's also so much healing that is essential for artists, the healing that's necessary for us, and that's work that you are doing.
Yeah, so recently I've been very focused on putting the healing work forward. I'm an ecosystem strategist. Like, I'm able to strategize how to create the best ecosystem for someone in a holistic way. I'm meant to help people evolve into their best selves. I've been learning about herbalism directly from griots and culture practitioners and other healers around the world for about 15 years now. I'm ready now to actually like apply that to other people's journeys and hold that space for them. I've now developed an evolution program where we use the herbs and we use ancestral rituals to help aid people in their evolution.
How does that look? How does building an ecosystem for somebody look? I know it's gonna be different for everybody.
Oh yeah, it's pretty simple. We honestly start with the inner world first. So we start with what are the things that health-wise need to be done. So that can look like building a holistic health plan with the herbs and even food, or even bringing in other practitioners from the Activate network. And then we look into what is the spirit communicating through whatever emotional, mental, or physical symptoms a person's having, and how can we strengthen their relationship with their higher self so then they can actually be working from that space instead of working from a space of fear, or working from a space of anger, or working from a space that just isn't really in alignment with what their spirit wants them to be doing.
Yeah.
And that also tends to go deeper into their life purpose and like actually diving deep into what their life purpose is. And that's basically how I work with one's evolution. I think a lot of the time people have always sacrificed their health for their work, and we're just in a system of habit.
Reverse that. The healing work with the artists that you're doing is so great because it should be part of the creative process. It should be seen as part of the creative process. And us as artists, we know that. I know when I need to rest, I need to rest. And that's just part of the creative process. You know, even though I'm not physically creating does not mean I'm not creating.
Right.
And it's adding a longevity to the artist and to the body of work, to everything, you know? It's enhancing everything.
Yeah, I mean, like, we're inherently in a non-sustainable health system. So we have to create our own sustainable health systems as a form of radical love and liberation. Like, that's really just the bottom line of where we're at. And it's a preventative medicine. Just, we're not necessarily against Western medicine, but we're more about tending to the body, mind, and spirit before it gets serious. So we've lost so many artists to being too young and being sick and like being misused by the industry in so many ways. And it's like, we've seen the example so many times. It's either we're going to keep getting the cycle going, or we're going to actually like fight it, you know?
Yeah. It's needed for everyone, and it's needed before the symptoms pop up is the thing. Even with the tea work that we both do in different ways, it's preventative medicine. It's maintaining yourself on a physical level, on a soul level, on a mental level. I mean, what you're doing is revolutionary right now, even though it should be the norm.
Exactly. Being a healer in this time, first of all, can be really hilarious because it's like, wow, y'all asked me to be a priestess in 2025. Like, this is crazy.
I know people are seeing there's so many different aspects of what you do, but art is innately healing. I've always seen art and healing work to be enmeshed.
I found that the art and the healing are not separate at all. They feed each other and they are the same. It's just we're in a society that separates everything.
And we're in your apothecary.
Yes, we're in Activate Apothecary right now. My company Activate is both an apothecary and it's also a creative studio that helps preserve sacred wisdom around the world.
God, everything I've ever needed is right here.
Exactly.
In your apothecary. I appreciate all the work you're doing.
Oh my God.
Happy to know you and happy to follow you.
Oh my gosh. Sure. Likewise, Boo. I'm excited to like continue this art and healing journey together. It feels very like we're supposed to be next to each other doing this, you know?